And we are officially live. Hey everybody, my name is Wes.
And my name is Michael.
And today you're joining us for the Church Connect live stream.
Let's go.
We're going to be talking about how to build your church app and website and all the things.
Yes.
But before we dive into all the things, just a couple things before we get started. Number one, if you are like me, and probably like you too, Michael, I like to watch videos, learn how to do things. We have so many videos on our YouTube channel for learning how to use ChurchTrac, whether you're wanting to get started and add people to your database, or you're wanting to dive into Church Connect like we're doing today. We've got a lot of great stuff there. What's another good resource to throw at them, Michael?
Go check out our Facebook page where we have so many different users of ChurchTrac on there, and it's a great community to get plugged into. Just to, if you wanted to ask questions or just to, have a community of people that use the same software as you do. It's a great place to connect with them.
I always say that it's one thing to use a product. It's another thing when that product actually has a community of people just like you using it.
Yeah.
So that's such a great thing. And then lastly, when it comes to getting help in ChurchTrac, we always, every time we do a live stream, we show this, but I always just want to reemphasize, we have this help button in the top right corner of that screen. Click that help button. That brings you to our online user guide where you can go and check out our online user guide of all of our articles. Or you can go straight into asking us a question. You can schedule a support call with our team. We're really easy to get in touch with here at ChurchTrac. All right, well, this live stream, we're going to break it up into 4 parts. What are we going to start with first, Michael?
Oh man, so we're going to talk about what is Church Connect.
Yes.
And you guys are probably wondering the same thing if you
if you're looking
if you haven't started a free trial, or if you're looking at it, or even if you've been with ChurchTrac for a while and you just haven't looked at Church Connect yet. We're going to talk through what that looks like. And so Church Connect is a website and an app that you can have. It's kind of a card-based
don't give away too much. We'll get into it.
Okay, we'll get into that.
But then we're going to look at how to build your Church Connect, because ultimately we need to learn how to build it. So that's a big chunk of why we're here today. And then after we show you how to build it, Michael, we've got some pro tips for them, don't we?
Pro tips.
Yes, lots of different pro tips of just ways to really utilize Church Connect the best in your ministry. And then we're going to end things at the very end of this live stream. We're going to have a time of Q&A. And I think that's what's so cool about these live streams that we get to do, is by doing these live, we get the opportunity to actually answer your questions live. And so right now, we're going to keep the chat wide open, but we're not really going to be answering questions or anything in the chat. The chat is more so there for us to get some feedback from you as we ask some questions here and there, and also for you all to help each other. So if maybe someone is wondering how to do something and one of you has already learned how to do that, knows how to do it, well, let them know in the chat. But just know we'll have a dedicated time of Q&A at the very end where we'll answer all of your questions live, and we'll stay here as long as it takes, or until they at least turn off the lights, right? Okay, well, let's go ahead. Let's get started. So the question, what is Church Connect? I like to ask this question every time we do our Getting Started workshops, Michael. And the question, well, it's not even a question. It's more so a statement that I want from all of you. So I see some of you in the chat already there, Dolores, Shakira, Brenda, John, Jane. I want you to let me know in 3 words or less, describe your church website. So in 3 words or less, describe your church website. And what's funny, Michael, is I ask this question all the time in other live streams we do for Getting Started, but I also ask this when people are signing up.
Sure.
And it's kind of funny because you learn a whole lot about a church by their response to this. Whenever you ask them to describe your website in 3 words or less.
Absolutely.
A lot of churches were telling me for their 3 words or less, they just said don't have one. So and that is because a lot of churches fall into that place where they just got started, or they're in a transitionary period where maybe the person that managed their website's not there. And so
or it's too expensive.
That's
oh my
the
goodness.
Other one. Yes.
It's incredibly expensive.
So let's see. All right, so I'm going to read them off. And I'm not going to pick on anyone here. I'm just going to kind of go through some of the ones that you all said. So someone said, nah, out of date, busy, cluttered.
Got one-stop shop.
In need of is what someone said. Jane says boring, none, not very good, processing, transitioning to Church Connect, minimal, plain, outdated, painful. Oh my goodness, it's painful. I mean, yeah, if your website needs a lot of work, it can be painful to look at if you know it can be better. Informative, easy to navigate.
Died years ago.
Yeah, I was looking at that one too.
Oh, that's so sad.
Squarespace and Church Connect. Okay, so here's the deal. When it comes to websites, churches fall into one of 3 different camps. Yes. Camp 1 is churches that don't have a website. Like many of you here today don't have a website. Well, the good news is today you do with Church Connect because, like we'll talk about, it is a website and an app and all that. Then there's Camp 2. And these are church leaders that have a website. Yep. But it's slow. It
doesn't look good.
Yes, it's got a spaghetti dinner from 5 years ago. Like whatever it may be, you fill in the blank. Then we have church leaders that fall into Camp 3, and that is like Mark. You said informative, easy to navigate. That's what you want in a church website. You want it to be informative. You want it to be easy to navigate. And so here's what's cool. Church Connect, no matter which camp your church may fall into. If you don't have a website, you do with Church Connect. If you have one, but it's, well, you could probably replace it with Church Connect. Yeah. And if you have a great website already, use Church Connect as your app because it's a website and an app built into one. But enough about that. Michael, let's talk more about okay, so what is Church Connect? How do we define it here at ChurchTrac?
So Church Connect is our website. It's what ChurchTrac uses as their website and app.
Yeah, and it's built into ChurchTrac.
It's built into ChurchTrac, and this is a part of your plan, the standard plan, the plus plan.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to have a website if you don't have one. And Wes was mentioning earlier, it can either be a great alternative to a website, which is a website and an app, mixed in together. And so, we live in a technological age where people are constantly on their phones.
Yep.
So how often, are people going to want to just have an app that they can click on with your, with your church's logo on it to be able to, open up what you guys are doing this week at church, or, to be able to give to your church. It's an incredible way to engage with your, with your community and with your church members and even visitors. So it's a great way to engage with them. It's a great way to allow people to give, and it's good, there are form cards on there. And so I guess kind of getting into what Church Connect is, it's built off of a card-based system.
Yes.
And so it's really simple to put together, and we really recommend using Canva to build these cards.
And let's kind of rewind a second, because I know some people are like, all right, so how do you get to Church Connect?
That's a good question.
We have this. We actually have a great article here that you can check out on our user guide as well. But we have a whole video that shows how to download it. But Church Connect, what's so neat about it is you don't have to go to the App Store to download it, because it's a website and it's an app in one. And so to get there, all your people have to do is get their phone, like cell phone here, scan a QR code. And then from there, they're automatically prompted by going to the website, because that QR code takes them to your Church Connect website. Right. And there they can install that application right onto their phone. They add it to their home screen. And by adding it to their home screen, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, it automatically downloads that app onto the phone. Right. And your people, they don't have to download the app. They can just continue to go to the website like normal. But the app does make it simpler because it's right there on the phone. And the thing I love so much about how we've created this is, number one, it's easy for people to download, whether it's on iOS or Android. But number two, it's the same unified experience, no matter if they download the app version or they just go to the existing website.
It looks the exact same. It's just the app looks a little more appy, I guess
appy.
To put it.
Is that the word of the day?
I guess appy. Yeah, absolutely. So they can actually access it either way, and I think it's a great, option for if people do want to, the techier people out there that are like, okay, well, I'm going to download this as an app, or just pull up the website that through the URL that you can get. So
and we give you that QR code and everything in Church Connect, which I'll show a little bit later. But Michael, show us just a quick version of what does a Church Connect look like, or what you can make it look like.
Absolutely.
I guess.
Yes. So let's get over to the phone here, and we're going to take a look at potential churches' Church Connect page, and we have the potential church here. So for example, here we have connect with your church. And here we have an example of a form card that we use that you can, enter in your name information. You can have pretty much as many, form questions as you want.
It's all customizable for the needs of your church.
Absolutely. So customizable with questions or information that you need to get from your church members or visitors that you want. Or, for example, we have another one for prayer requests. So you can have a prayer wall here where people can enter in, what can you be praying, how can we be praying for you? What can we do for you? Things like that you can have as a form card as well. So that's a really great way to connect with those people. And there's also a way to be able to get in here and to set up your online giving from here as well. And so what you would do is create a link card that would lead your people straight to your online giving, which is a great option for them too. So people would be able to see this on here with a graphic. Be like, wow, I can give online here to this church, whether it be a visitor or a church member that has an account through your Church Connect.
Now, if you're using our online giving that's already built in, then if you click that, then that just goes straight to online giving.
And actually, I can pull it up here. It'll take you straight into online giving, potential church online giving, and from here you'll be able to choose how much you want to add in. So let's say we add in $1. We throw in $1 here to the church, and we can go in here, and it'll give you a drop-down menu of the categories that you can give to that will actually go straight into your giving screen. And ChurchTrac. Which can be deposited into your accounting screen, and then you can not only give once, but you can put this on a recurring giving on that basis, which is really great. So you can repeat weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly.
And just a quick FYI, if you're using another online giving provider and this is a feature they don't offer, you need to ask for it. And if they won't give it to you, you need to get another online giving provider, simply because this is one of the easiest ways to increase your overall giving in your church.
Yes.
You're welcome. Continue.
Right.
My bad. That was my plug.
No, it's okay. So here we can, we'll enter in our payment source. We also have the option to use Google Pay and Apple Pay. So those are really great options for your people. Super easy to give online. And so we do our integration with Stripe. Don't want to get too much into that just because we're talking about Church Connect here, but we do it with Stripe. We have great fees with them. So, feel free to reach out to our support team and ask us questions if you need about Church Connect or online giving or whatever it may be. And so that's kind of and here's another great way to use.
Yeah, because you're logged in as a church member right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we can do actually, and if if you have an event set up for today or the day of the event, you can actually record attendance on here, which is something that blows my mind for people to just be able to log into their Church Connect account and record their own attendance. You don't even have to put it in for them. They can go in and do it for themselves. So it kind of takes a lot of the stress off of, people, you guys as, who are running the church, the pastors, whoever may be running this, or even the volunteers, and they can go in here and as you can see, there are no active events today. But if there was an active event today, they'd be able to sign themselves in and they would show up on your attendance sheet, which is super awesome and it's a super easy way.
And one thing worth mentioning too, so because you're logged in, you have access to that menu on the top left.
Absolutely.
And so one of the big things, obviously people can update their profile, stuff like that, but I want to point out to my giving history.
Sure.
Because this is a big one, and right now, the time of this live stream, we are right before the deadline to get out our contribution statements. But this is a really great feature of Church Connect as well, as people being able to download their contribution statements right from their phone, get those giving statements. I see a lot of churches where they make their giving statements kind of an opt-in thing, where they don't have to mail out a lot of them to their people, because their people go ahead and just download them themselves from the app.
Yeah,
and so there's a lot going on in here.
And as you can see, I just pulled that up right on. It just pulls it right up and it opens up the contribution statement for you. So it takes away from churches having to print out these contribution statements if your church members have access to Church Connect, through that portal, which is awesome. So all that information is there for you, as long as you have it set up properly.
There's a lot. We could spend probably all day. We could spend 30 minutes just going through just the one we created here as a demo.
Right.
But the goal is for you to just kind of see very quickly, what it looks like, what you can make it look like. I think it's time we actually show them a crash course, if you will. How to build your Church Connect, because a lot of church leaders I work with. Let me know in the chat. Who in here in the chat went to school to learn how to build websites? Did anybody go to school to learn how to build websites? Obviously, I know the answer to this is majority of us know.
Yeah.
Now, you're younger, you're techie. You could probably go on any website builder and figure it out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are not techie like you. Or a lot of us just don't have the time, to be brutally honest. And not to mention the time of, okay, I want to create a website for my church, but then I also want to create an app and have that experience for my members. not many people have that kind of time, especially, I know many of you out there, because I'm already seeing in the chat, you have to be kidding, is what Liz says. Yeah, like no one in here, I mean, most of us, if we went to school, we may have went to school to get a degree in theology or something like that, or I went to school for history.
Yeah.
So we didn't just learn how to do this. And I like how one person said, I went to the school of hard knocks. Yeah, that's the reality. In ministry, like a lot of times we're learning on the job. Yeah. We're not learning all these things that we do in church prior. We're learning it actively in ministry. Right. So when it comes to building a website, let's run into this. So I am going to go ahead, and to keep me honest, so I am logged into an account. I just created a fresh account on ChurchTrac. So this account, I have done nothing to it just because I want to show what it looks like for you all that have not done anything yet. So the first screen I go to is Church Connect, okay? So this is the screen I go to actually build out my Church Connect page. Now, if you do not see this screen, one of two things could be going on. One, you may not have the user permissions to be able to see that screen. So you'll need to have those user permissions. And then if you don't see it, but you've been with us for a long time, it could be that you're on an older plan that doesn't have access to Church Connect. So just reach out to our support team and we'll help you out with that. Now, into Church Connect. As you'll see, this is my Church Connect. It's showing me all the cards and everything, just to kind of give you the lay of the land, everybody. I've got all my visible cards I can see. I can search for specific cards because Church Connect is built out of all these different cards. I have my Church Connect URL, and right now, looking at this URL, thinking to myself, how in the world is anybody going to remember this? Like, am I supposed to tell people whenever I'm preaching? Go to our website. It's 153F Charlie 7 Echo Frank .churchtrac.com. No. So the first thing we want you to do is we want you to customize your Connect URL. And so by selecting that prompt there that I just selected, I can do that. Or I can just go to that Connect menu. And from here, I can go to Connect Settings. But it'll automatically prompt you every time you log in because that's how important it is. So it's going to bother you until you change it. So I want to customize my link, so I'm going to customize it. Now, you can make your link, it's going to be whatever you want .churchtrac.com. The other thing, too, is you can forward your existing domain to ChurchTrac. So if you already have a domain you own, like reallyawesomechurch.org, that'd be a cool domain to own, then you can make it go directly to your Church Connect page. So I'm going to say, this is True Potential. I want to see if True Potential is available. So truepotential.churchtrac.com would be our URL. Congrats! There we go. True Potential is available. Do I want to choose it or do I want to search again? I'm going to go ahead and choose it, Michael.
Do it.
Now, you can change this later if you need to, but in order to change it, you need to reach out to our support team.
Yes.
I always recommend getting with your team, figuring out what you want to use for that. And so from here, I will select OK, True Potential. So now my URL has changed. It's truepotential.churchtrac.com. That's right. And from here, so that's the URL that I'll share with people. And then I also have, by selecting this Connect menu, you have a lot of different options here. I can view the QR code right here. And so it'll pull up that QR code, and I can see my URL there as well. Now, here's the deal. I haven't built out my Church Connect yet. Now, we've already got these cards in here,
right.
But if we were to go to it, to go to our Church Connect on a desktop device here, I could just select this little link button to go to that. And there you go. There's my Church Connect. What do you think of that Church Connect page, Michael?
Oh, man, it's interesting.
So in other words, what you just told me is that doesn't look good.
It's a little boring.
It is boring. So we actually need to take some time to build it. Now, we include these cards here just because we want you to have placeholders of different cards and everything. But obviously, you don't want to keep these cards. You want to either customize these cards specifically for your church, or you want to just outright delete them and make your own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at some of these cards that we've already got here, and I can actually customize them out. And so we're going to start with, I think probably the best card to start with is going to be a connection card and everything. Now, quick note here. Before I kind of dive into all these cards, I showed you about the URL. The other thing I want to show you on this menu here is you have the ability to actually go to Connect Settings, And under your Connect settings, this is where you can actually customize other things too. So I can choose whether or not my logo appears on my Connect page. I can show my church address on the Church Connect page. This is super important. I highly recommend you have this enabled. You have to put in your church's physical address in the admin settings whenever you're setting up your ChurchTrac account. Now I haven't done that yet on this account because this account literally just got created like 10 minutes ago before we started. But you need to do that because that's going to help you with your overall SEO. And if you're like, Wes, what is SEO? Is that a variant of C-3PO from Star Wars? And if some of you are like, I don't even know what you just said with Star Wars, don't worry about it. But this is a big part of like helping people find your church website by having your address on every page. And then you can have a main heading, you can have a background color, which I highly recommend if you already have hex codes that are picked out for your church's branding. And if you're like, Wes, what's a hex code? That sounds wrong. No, we're not talking about like anything wrong. A hex code is just it basically tells you the exact color of something. And so I recommend if you already know those codes, go ahead and plug in those codes. But I can pick just a white background if I wanted for now, or I can do like a gray one. We'll just do a gray one just to keep it generic. I can have different button colors. I can even have a different curve. So I can make my buttons more rounded. I can make them square if I want them to be square. I personally recommend making them rounded. And the reason why is because everything is rounded these days when it comes to web design and phones. Like our phone screens now are rounded. People, rounded just seems, it's what's in. I'll just leave it at that. It's what's in. But you don't have to do that. But we just give you options. And then the other thing here is we have a Connect app icon. So you can go ahead, you can actually create an app icon for your church app. And I actually did. And so I can drag and drop this app icon on there. And now I have my app icon. So when people actually download my church app, this icon is going to show on their phone. So you have your own custom app icon. So I just did that real quick just to show you. And we have everything in our user guide about the different specifications, but it does need to be 256 pixels by 256 pixels wide to work properly there. Okay, so now let's start creating some cards here. And I'm going to try to fly as quickly as possible because there's so much to show. So what I'm doing is I'm setting a stopwatch here just to keep me in check. So let's go. All right, the first thing I want to do is a connection card. So the way you edit a card is you can select a card, and then from here I can edit a card. Now, as we looked at earlier, Michael, this is a boring card. This doesn't just scream, please click me.
Right.
So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this card, and I'm going to put a card image. Now here's what's cool. I've already created some card images, and we'll talk about like how to create some really great images too. But I'm going to drag and drop this image in here that I have already created here. So let's, I'm clicking too hard on my computer. I'm not used to this computer. So there we go. There's my card image, connect with, and then church name. There you go. So I can go ahead and close that. And these are all templates, by the way, we created just to make life even easier for you. So now I can close that out. And now I've got an image. It makes me actually want to click it. And then I can go here and edit this further. If I wanted to, I can say, you know what? I don't want this text below it. I actually want no text. And so I'm just going to delete that title. So I'm going to do that. I find that a lot of church leaders don't even use the card content or title for the majority of their cards because they want to lean heavily in images.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can do that. So now I've got all that changed. So when I go back to card setup, that card is now changed, and it's just that. It's just that image I created. Now this is a form card, which is pretty popular card because a form card, what does a form card do for us, Michael?
Yeah, so it gives you the ability to ask your members questions or grab information from them, anything you may need in the form of an answer that that your members or your visitors may be able to give to you. And in this case, it's your visitors, you know, getting information from them, seeing how you can pray for them, whatever information you may need to grab from them.
So I'm going to go ahead and edit my form questions. So select that. Now this card, because it's a demo card that we put in here for you already, it's already got some of these questions in here, but I can go ahead and say I want to require this to add a name and email field to my card, so I can have that in there. And then from here, since I'm already asking to add that, well, I can delete the name one, so I'll delete that field. And then I am a first-time guest, second-time guest, regular attender, member, and then I can continue having all these other questions. And again, these are questions that just came kind of built in here, but if I wanted to, I could really customize this and make my own. But I just wanted to show really quickly the form card builder, just because many of you are going to be using this a lot. You can require questions to be asked. Another thing too is you can have questions not be asked based on the status of whether or not someone is logged in, which Michael's going to talk about a little later about how cool that feature is.
Yes.
And so from here, I'm just going to close that out. And we've got that. So now I've got like this card updated. So now if I go to visit my Church Connect just on my desktop device real quick, you can see that looks tremendously better than what it was looking like. Now let's continue. Let's take things to another level, shall we? I'm going to, let's do this. I did a connection card. I want to do a prayer request card.
Yeah.
And so in this situation, I am kind of form card heavy right now, but that's because this is such a really powerful way to connect with our people.
Right.
We want our Church Connects to encourage communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to go ahead and go to the Connect menu here, and I'm going to add a card. And this is going to be a form card. And then I'll go ahead and add this card. Now I've already created an image for this, so I can do that, but I'm going to name this real fast. I'll call it a prayer card. And then I can go ahead and I'll go ahead while I'm at it, I'll just add the questions. And so I want to go ahead, I can add the name and email already, and then I can add a question. And the question is just going to be prayer request. And this will make it a paragraph just in case it's a long prayer request, because sometimes there are long prayer requests, and I want to know the entirety of this person's prayer request when they fill it out. So I've got that. I love this so much. I know it sounds silly. People are like, why are you so excited about prayer requests? Because this is how we, disciple people and serve the body of Christ by embarking on this.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to require this because I need to have a prayer request. And then I'm going to ask another question. This is something I learned from a church leader, Michael.
Okay.
So
Show me.
The other question I'm going to ask is, this is going to be it's a yes or no. And this question is going to be, can we share this prayer request with the church? And I thought this was so great. It's so simple, but it's so important to ask these things, because if you have a prayer team at your church, the last thing you want is to maybe have prayer requests that people filled out thinking we're only going to be seen by the pastor, only to find out that prayer request got sent to the whole prayer team, and that person finds out and they're like, I really didn't want that to go to a bunch of people. I wanted it to go just to the pastor.
Right.
So I can require this. Really great thing. How many of you out there, I'll just ask in the chat, have done something like that with like a prayer request card? Have you made it to where you ask people whether or not you can share that prayer request? I'd be curious to see that. Yes. Okay, I've created that. We're gonna go ahead and hit close on that. I could continue to add things, but we're gonna move on from that. Now I could from here, I could stop, but I'm gonna go back to that card actually and edit it more. Now, here's what's funny, is I could continue to just edit these cards and do that, but I'm going to delete some of these, and so I'll just delete this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another card. And the card I'm going to add, let's see, Michael. Let's add another popular one. How about a link card?
Ooh,
a link card. And a link card, this is probably one of the most versatile cards on our Church Connect, because a link card, we're basically linking to pretty much anything you can imagine. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to search for, so add a card, and then I'm going to select link card, and I'm going to add this card. Now, this particular card, I wanted to link to our church's podcast. Now, I'm not going to put in, I'm just going to put in ChurchTrac's website for now. So I'll just say ChurchTrac.com is what this links to. It needs to be HTTPS, so HTTPS://www.churchtrac.com. Okay, and so then from here, I can go ahead and I can say, you know what, all right, I've got the website there I want it to link to. I want to edit the actual card itself though, and I've already got a card image here. So like we could say this was like our live stream, or this is like my podcast for my church. And so I already have a podcast image that I created.
Boom.
Your church pod, right there. I like the pod. So there's an image taking people straight to our church's podcast, and there you go. So I've got that in there, card status displayed until date below. I can also hide cards. Michael's going to talk about that later, though, because that's a pro tip right there. All right, so close that. So now I've got this other one added. Now I could continue this. Let's do, I'll do one more. I mean, we're 7 minutes into me creating, and I've already created a few. But let's
Look how much better your Church Connect page
it's
looks.
looking so much better by actually having these images on here.
For sure.
Let's do an About Us card. I mean, obviously, I'm going to keep it real short, but like, all right, so we have this About Us card already here. And it's a page card. So page card can display information. So on this one, I'm going to edit the card. And I'm going to drag and drop again. You see the theme here of images, everybody. So I've already got this About Us card image that I had created in Canva. There's About Us. And now I can go set this card up. See, this looks so much better. And so then from here, I can edit the page content. And then I can say what we believe. And then I can, just say, we believe in the Word of God. Let's leave it at that for now. Obviously, you're going to want to put more about your About Us in your church and stuff like that. But there you go. So there's our About Us page where people can learn more about us. And I'm going to do one more just because I'm flying here. We're going to add an event card. Ooh, this is a good one.
I love this, Steve.
So event card. So an event card takes people to events. And again, like all these cards that we're going through here as we fly, when I go to add a card, you can see we have a lot of different cards available. A page card showing like a page of information, a link card linking to something outside of Church Connect, form card we just talked about, registration card, which is what we're about to do. But then we have the giving card, the attendance card, a quote card, which just shows the quote, a gallery card where you can upload images or even files to it, video card, expandable card. I mean, we have all these different cards and we're always thinking of cool ways to add more. So stay tuned because I'm sure there's probably gonna be another card added to this in the next year or so. But let's go ahead. We're gonna create a registration card. I'm gonna add this card. Okay. Now on this card here, I am going to say it's displayed. Now I need to select an event that it pulls from. And so by selecting an event, I only have one event right now to pull from because I just created this ChurchTrac account for this purpose. It's a potluck. Surprise, surprise. If you've watched any of our live streams, it seems like all I do is talk about food.
Because we love food.
And
food. Potlucks.
Yes, so
free food.
There you go. I've already created, now again, you have to create an event ahead of time to be able to create a registration card for it in Church Connect. And I already did that earlier, but the process is pretty quick and easy. You can check out our online user guide to learn how to do that. So now I have this potluck event in which people can register, and then I can have it displayed until a date below, which is blank, or I can have it disappear at a particular time if I want to do that. I'm actually going to do that because the potluck is on the 27th. Let me know in the chat, do any of you right now, and this is something not to shame you, but I'm just being honest. Do any of you have an event right now on your church website that has passed 2 weeks ago? It's been gone and you still have the event on your website and you've just forgotten to take it down or haven't had a chance to get around to it. Let me know in the chat.
Or even years.
Well,
do you have a spaghetti, potluck, whatever it may be, from 5 years ago? I mean, hey, it may be easy to forget. I don't know.
Oh, I've worked with so far the winner is a church that I worked with that had a spaghetti dinner from 5 years prior. When I first started working here at ChurchTrac. Awesome. And I was just like, let's change that. So a lot of you, all right, so yes.
Easter 2022. Wow.
Whoa.
We're coming up on Easter 2024.
Yeah. And we're going to see, this is what's so good about this because, this is a struggle. I mean, we're doing so many things, y'all. We do not have time to just sit here and look at our website all day and you're like, no, we're actively discipling people. We're running around doing visitations. We're doing all these things. We don't have time to sit here and just nerd out on our websites. So this is why I love this feature, even though it's super subtle, is I can say, okay, January 28th, I'll let it stay one extra day. That way the people on Sunday could see that there was a potluck the previous day. Sometimes it's good to have an event not necessarily disappear immediately, but it shows people oh, I missed that. So I can do that. So then that way I don't have a potluck event still on there a year later. No, that registration is going to disappear after a day. So it's no longer going to be there. Isn't that great?
That's awesome.
I know it's this simple things sometimes, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. That's one little. I mean, that's basically a pro tip I just gave you.
Absolutely.
So sorry, I gave you a pro
Extra
tip
pro
early.
tip.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess we could probably end up giving multiple pro tips with all the Q&A we do at the end.
Of course.
Okay. So there we go. I've showed off like just a few cards. I mean, we could go deep. I could add more and everything. But I think everyone gets the idea of how to build this out. Michael, I did that in 12 minutes, 30 seconds.
Awesome.
And I was talking and jibber-jabbering. I could have actually done twice as many cards and still done this in like 10 minutes.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, I'm a professional. Don't do this at home. Actually, you're probably going to be doing this at home. But I think you're going to find that as you work with it, I mean, you tell me, you have a background in tech and you've built websites before here and there. Whenever you first started using Church Connect, what did you think of it?
Dude, how incredible is it that you can just drag and drop photos instead of having to, add hrefs and different sorts of, content to your webpage using HTML or whatever it may be, CSS, to format your stuff. And this may be jibber jabber to you.
Yeah, I was about to say, he just mentioned like 3 things that half of you out there may be like, hrefs, what?
But to be simple with it, it's an easy thing to use. It's easy to drag and drop your photos into a card in Church Connect to give your church members or visitors an idea of what you guys are like and what you want to portray to them. And that's why I loved it. It was just so easy to put together, for the church that I made, my ChurchTrac account, for people to just pull up and get some information on who we are and what we're about.
And that's part of our training too. Whenever people are learning to be a part of our support team, is you had to build your own Church Connect.
Yeah, we did.
And obviously, we give you some time to have fun with it and everything. But when it comes down to it, I mean, people are building their Church Connects even in training here, like super fast. It's not something that it really shouldn't have to take you any more than a day of just kind of clicking around. But a lot of church leaders I've worked with, once they actually sit down and get that mindset of, I want to build my church app and I want to build my website from start to finish. It's just a few hours. I always say, have a plan, like know ahead of time some of the things you want to do. And I think these pro tips are going to help you out a lot with that. So the next section we want to dive into is the pro tips. And I just want to encourage everyone, like I see a lot of questions going on in there. We're going to have a dedicated Q&A at the end. So like if we didn't answer anything specifically as you've been putting this in the chat, ask us in the Q&A. We'll try to answer all your questions. Okay, so pro tips. Oh man, now there's so many pro tips that we could share, but we're going to dedicate just 7. And I'll start with the first pro tip.
I love it.
Pro tip number 1. Be visual with your Connect page.
Please.
So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean exactly what I just said. Be visual. So like I just navigated back to my Church Connect page. That's like my demo account that I use here. But look at all these images I have, everybody. Images make people want to click things and stuff. It's one thing if you're creating your Church Connect to be a very generic app that's already in tandem with maybe an amazing website that you have created because you have a great website. It's another thing when you're more so leveraging this as your website, or you're just wanting to have an app experience that it looks good. And so I say use lots of images, create images, which Michael's bringing us to our second pro tip.
Yes, absolutely. And what we're going to talk about is Canva. And I saw a few questions about this in our chat here. And so I can actually get to that now. And so Canva is a great way to make these super simple images. And we actually have some templates that we can offer to them, which is a great, it gives you a great example of what, how you can put these together, what they should look like, what people are looking for, basically. And so Canva is a great way to just kind of build these and put them together, and they don't have to be super complicated. Just build something simple at first. If you feel like that's, what you can do, go ahead and do that. Mess around with Canva and get an idea. And I think another thing to add too is that you can actually get Canva for free. Now it's not guaranteed, but you can apply for free Canva if you're a 501c3, if I believe, if I'm correct. And you can apply for that, and Canva may provide you with a free subscription to their Plus, I believe, Canva Plus or something like that. Canva Pro.
Yeah,
I believe
Canva Pro,
and you'll have access to that, and so that will give you a lot more templates and stuff to work with from there. So go ahead. We should have a user guide article.
We do, and I'll ask my team to show this. So we've got a user guide article. We actually took the time to write a user guide article about Canva, explaining what it is, and we even went to the next level. We have created, because we use Canva all the time here at ChurchTrac for a lot of marketing things and stuff. It's basically, if you like, what's Canva, Wes? It is Photoshop for people that don't have time to deal with Photoshop and don't want to take all the time to learn all the craziness of Photoshop. Yes. Now, I know how to use Photoshop because I unfortunately had to learn all that stuff. But I can tell you, for someone even that knows how to use Photoshop, I love Canva because for things that we do in church and creating flyers and bulletins and images for your Connect, which I'm about to show you, Canva, it's really hard to beat. And I just love the fact that it's free for 501c3 organizations. So we already have Canva templates in our online user guide, and you can select, we've got a large one to pull from and a small one to pull from. So like if I select it, it opens up this template and you can see like we've already created a bunch of different images here. And here's what's cool is so like you're like, okay, I want to use this one here, then you can go ahead, select this use template for new design. If you're already logged into Canva, it's just going to instantly open it up. Then you can start customizing the colors and the text and everything in here and have fun with it. If you don't have Canva, it's going to prompt you to create an account. Accounts are free. And if you want to take things to the next level, the pro subscription, again, that is free for 501c3 organizations. This is not a plug for Canva necessarily because we don't necessarily...
Not affiliated.
Yeah, we're not affiliated and we don't necessarily like endorse them like in an official capacity or anything. Right. It's just a resource that we found that church leaders have already been using for years, and we found it great to kind of pair it and giving you templates in it. And so that way when you create your Church Connect, it looks great. Okay, that was a long pro tip, but that was a good pro tip. That's probably one of the best pro tips today. Yes. All right, back to the pro tips. 3, be intentional about your card order and number. That's right. So what do I mean by that? Let me do this. I'm going to go to the phone. I'm going to ask the team if they could crank up the cell phone again because I want to show this on the cell phone. Yes. All right, I go to the cell phone for the first time here. Now, Michael, like as we look at this, like just the order of the cards is already a big thing because it's really showing like what I think is most important for people to do when they go to our Connect page.
Absolutely.
And so what do I think is important? Well, I want them to get connected with us. I want them to hear a podcast. And because I'm logged in as a member, well, one of the top 3 things a member is going to do at your church when they're interacting either on an app or a website is they want to give because that's a big part of their worship. Absolutely. So I've got my giving card here. I've got my prayer request right here. And so you can see very quickly, this is what's important to our church. Like we want to be able to pray for people. We want to be able to give people a way to donate online. We want people to listen to the sermon and other podcasts that we have. We want people to get connected with us and volunteer if that's something they want to do. And so I've been very intentional about the order of my cards. And so you can do that. And the other thing too is I'm intentional about the number of my cards. Notice like I'm done, like right there. And I just have a couple random test things on there just because this is a test account. But I don't have like 100 cards. I don't want my people feeling like they're on the gram scrolling endlessly. No.
Being overwhelmed. It's overwhelming when you open up a Church Connect page and there's so much information to go through. Let it be simple. Let it be something that they can digest, look at, and get to know who you guys are and what they can do to interact with you all.
Yes, and the way you do that, just to show on the big screen on Church Connect real fast, go to that Connect menu when you're on your ChurchTrac account and you're editing your Church Connect. Select that Connect menu, and then as you go here, you have the ability to sort cards. Absolutely. This is where you can move your cards around in a different order. So then I can say, hey, I actually want this card to be down here. I can do that, refresh, and then it's going to change the order. So that's a good one. Okay, what's another pro tip you've got for us, Michael?
Oh man, so we have, and Wes had mentioned this earlier, card visibility, and this is going to be huge for you all. Mm-hmm. And so there are kind of 2 camps here with this, or 2 user experiences, I should say, with this. And so we have visibility for people that are logged in to your membership, to member portal, basically. Yeah. So logged into your Church Connect, or people that are not logged in. Yeah. And so this is a great way to keep certain cards, set aside for people that are logged in for your church members if you want to. Yeah. For certain things that you have going on for your members. And then there's also another option of keeping the cards available to anybody that just opens up your Church Connect page, and it gives them access, people, to the public and to visitors to be able to see what you guys, what events you may have going on for the public that are open to that. And so that's a really great way to kind of organize your cards and allow people to see different things and how to what's the word for it? How to use your membership portal in a sense. So you can have people log in to do certain things, right? Or
Yes.
to have access to different things. That's a great way to use the login.
And let me show you, like, because I think I have a really perfect example for this. So I'm on my Church Connect again. I'm just selecting the About Us card here. Now this About Us card status, this is what Michael's talking about.
Yes.
When you want to determine the card status, that determines whether or not a card is displayed when a member is logged in, when a member is not logged in, or until a date below, like we showed earlier with the event, which is awesome. Or I can have it hidden. This is really common. I actually see a lot of churches, they'll have a card for like VBS, and getting volunteers for VBS, and they'll hide it all year, but then when that time comes around in like June or May, they show that card.
VBS.
So the About Us card, I actually have it only displayed when a member is not logged in.
Right.
Because if someone's a member at my church and everything, well, they don't necessarily need to see that, and plus, if you already have a website and this is more of like your app experience for your members, well, they don't necessarily need that either because they can just go to your landing page. So I think that's what's so cool about Church Connect is how malleable is. That's
Yes,
the
malleable.
word.
Yes.
Malleable. How malleable it is, because you really can customize this experience, like you were saying.
That's right.
And this, in essence, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. Isn't this like 2 websites in one?
It really is, to be honest with you.
So not only did we give you one website for free included with your ChurchTrac subscription, we give you 2.
One for your members and one for people that are not members. And how incredible is that?
Some people out there probably like waiting for me to say, but wait, there's more. So, all right, that was a great pro tip, Michael. All right, going past that, all right, Matt, pro tip number 5. Match your brand. And I mentioned this earlier about the hex codes that I was making a joke about. But so matching your brand, like the last thing you want to do is create a Church Connect page in which it doesn't look anything like the rest of your church, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So like if your church's colors are maybe like purple and green, for example, well, I don't want to make my Church Connect
Blue
like
and orange.
Blue and orange or something, unless you're a Gator fan,
Gators.
I guess. Yeah,
Go Gators,
go
baby.
Gator. But yeah, so think about your brand as you create your Church Connect. Everything from the colors you use to the wording you use, because your wording is a part of your brand and how you say things. And also like the fonts you use. Like you don't want to use, if you're creating these images with Canva, you don't want to create images with like just wild looking fonts that have nothing to do with the fonts you've used maybe on your existing church website or the other materials that you give out to your people, like your bulletin. So that's a big thing.
Yeah, they might not be able to recognize your church if you're using, you know what I mean? If you're branding yourself a certain way and you throw different colors or different themes into your Church Connect page, how are they going to recognize it? You know? So have that in the back of your mind when you're making your Church Connect page.
All right, now Michael, pro tip number 6, I think it's probably the most important pro tip of them all, if I'm being honest. And that it's ultimately like, how do you get your people, like, how do you share Church Connect with your people?
Yeah. So it really is about engagement. I mean, how are you engaging with your members or visitors or people in your community? Well, one great way is to weave it into your conversations, with announcements or your offerings, giving people the opportunity to hear about it, just that you guys have Church Connect, and that it's offered through ChurchTrac, but gives them the opportunity to know that it exists. Maybe they won't go to it at that moment, but at least they have it in the back of their mind that, okay, so they have something that we can connect to or that we can share with other people if, we want to invite them to church. Go take a look at our church's Church Connect page.
Well, and the other thing I want to point out is you may call it Church Connect, but at the same time, whenever you tell people to go to it, you're just telling them go to our church app, go to our church website. Right. Because that's what Church Connect is. Yeah. That's just what we call it internally. But what are some other ways that we can share Church Connect with our members to get them on board with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one great way is to link it with your emails or your text messages that you guys may send out. So if you have your emails or your text messaging set up in ChurchTrac already, why not utilize it to share your website and your app that you have through Church Connect, if that makes sense. So when you send out your weekly emails or your bulletins or whatever it may be, I'm not.
my church does that. Where we have a weekly email newsletter we send out, and on the bottom of every single newsletter, there's a link to download the app for our church.
Get connected. Yeah.
There you go.
How incredible.
What are some other ways?
Yeah. So another great way is to insert your QR code, and this, I'm sure for you techie people out there, I geek out over this because I love QR codes, and what a great way for someone to just pull out their phone and take a picture of the QR code and pull up it's not even taking a picture, it just pulls it up on your phone
Yeah.
through the QR code, and it pulls up the website, and then you can download the app from there as well. So super simple way to get people engaged, especially, you know, for people in my generation that are, you know, familiar with things like QR codes and stuff like that. It allows them to engage, and it's kind of cool. They're like, you're techie.
I'm going to go ahead and stop you there. It used to be the younger generation, but as of the past few years, QR codes are kind of the standard.
Old?
No, it's not you're getting old. It's just times have changed.
Right,
and now
right.
QR codes, like most people, if they are told, hey, scan the QR code, they understand
Right.
what to do. Obviously, there are some people not as techie, but your average person that didn't know what QR codes were 3 years ago
Yeah, they're probably
now
know now.
knows what they are. Yeah, which is great.
So QR codes are great. You can throw them on you can throw them on a piece of paper that you have at your, let's say your welcome desk. That's a great way, let's say you have somebody manning the welcome desk, or, you're stationed at that welcome desk and you have this QR code set up on the front of it or just sitting there on the top, and they can go ahead and take a scan of that and open up your Church Connect site there, and you can kind of talk them through what's going on, equip the people that are serving there with what to say, and kind of guide them through how that would work and how your Church Connect app works, the website app. It's a great way to get visitors to be able to see that as well. So QR code's great. Link is great too, if you need to.
Now, last pro tip, and this pro tip is more of something I actually just emailed a pastor this morning. This is a quote I made up, so take it with a grain of salt. But when it comes ultimately, because getting church people, not even church people, getting people to adapt and change and to adopt something new is always hard. And this is something I get asked all the time by pastors who are struggling sometimes to get, not even get their people to use Church Connect, but get their people to give online, stuff like that. But when it comes to Connect, I told this pastor this morning. I said, Connect is the hub of your church, but your people won't use it if you don't give them a reason to. And so the best way to get your people to use your Connect page, to use your church app, to use your website, is to give them reasons to use it. Whether it's, hey, if you want to submit a prayer request to us, download our app so you can submit a prayer request. If you want to get plugged in to our worship team or our children's ministry team to volunteer, hey, we do that through here on our church app or on our Church Connect page or website, however you want to word that. Hey, if you want to register for this event we have coming up, it's on Church Connect. Hey, if you want the sermon notes, if you want to take things to the next level in your Bible study and you want the sermon notes from my sermon on Sunday, I put all that on our church app. Download our church app to get that. If you don't give people a reason to go to your church app, to your church website, why would they go?
Yeah. And to be brutally honest, you can't really do it halfway, because if you create this, spend all this time creating a Church Connect page and you're not telling your people about it, what's the purpose of it?
Yeah.
What are you spending your time on? So make a Church Connect app. Push it not for us, but for you guys to engage with your people and your members, so you can love on them and to show them what's going on, and to be, to have resources for them available for them. So.
Yeah. All right. Now that is a lot of stuff we just gave all of you, a lot of content that some of you are like, I'm definitely going to watch the replay of this. And now, if you're watching this in the future, hello future, you won't be able to ask us questions here in real time, obviously, but you can always reach out to our support team. Again, just a quick plug at our YouTube channel, a Facebook group, all that. Now, we're going to open up our Q&A. Now, the chat's going to be wide open there. Actually, I'm going to close the chat because I don't want there to be confusion. So the chat is going to be disabled, and now we are enabling Q&A. Now, what this Q&A does is it gives you the ability to ask questions. Go ahead, submit your questions. It could be anything Church Connect related. If it's anything church accounting or church giving or stuff like that, it's not Church Connect related, I'm going to delete it because we don't have time to talk about accounting. Plus, we just talked about accounting 2 weeks ago.
That's right. So go take a look at that video, that recording of it.
Yeah, or reach out to our team and we'll help you out quickly. But no, any questions regarding Church Connect? Now, if you see another person in this Q&A, if you see another person that's already asked a question that's either the exact question you were going to ask or a similar question you were going to ask, go ahead. There's a little button there where you can upvote it or bump it up or something of that nature. And so I encourage you, do that. But we're going to start tearing through all these questions, and we're prepared to stay here as long as it takes.
Or until the lights turn off.
Which the team just notified me that these lights are no longer in batteries, so they actually will never turn off. So I guess,
so we'll be here.
Yeah, we'll be here a while. Let me get some water, and we'll start answering these questions as I drink out of my obnoxiously large water bottle, but it has this really funny sticker. I don't know. Can you even see this in the camera, people?
I think so.
Sort of. It says, "I only work on Sundays." Which we all know is a lie.
True. Yes. Okay, so I guess I can take this first question from Alan.
Okay.
So it says, can you provide us a link to CT users that have done a great job with Church Connect, and so we can see a good example? And yes, what I'll ask you to do, and if you have multiple people that want this, we can. If you reach out to our support team, we can give you links to 3 different Church Connect pages that have done a great job of people that have loved Church Connect and used it for a while.
So
and
these are like our poster child Church Connect.
So reach out to our support team. We'll send you those links, and I think you'll love them.
All right, Dan and Terry, how to post sermon audio or video. Now, there's multiple ways to do this, Dan and Terry. I lean towards link cards for this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if you already have like a place where you're storing all of your sermon videos and audio, like YouTube or something like that, maybe link to your YouTube channel. We even have a video card that you can use as well.
Yeah. And if you're using, I think this is a good note to have, and I was messing with Church Connect a little bit when I first started, is you can actually throw, if you have YouTube Livestream, you can throw that link in there that you have for your, now I don't know if it works for everybody, but I tried it, and you can throw your live stream in there from your YouTube.
You say throw, you mean like
put it in. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm exasperating, but you can throw your, you can put your link into this video card and have your live stream run during the times that it is. So that could be a great option for y'all as well.
All right, Shakira asking, yes, no questions, depending on how one answers, can they go to a different question within the form? Oh, I see where you're going. So you're wanting to create like questions in which, very similar to like, I know Google Forms does this, where if they answer a question a certain way, then you have like logic routing. This does not have logic routing. That's one of those things we thought about adding it to it when we were developing Connect. But it was one of those things where we found that not many churches would utilize it, and others that
would know how to use it.
Yeah, others would get confused. Now, if we get enough churches asking for logic and stuff, then that's something we would reconsider. So yeah, really good question. Nan, we already have a church website. Can we integrate this with our current church website? Can they?
That's absolutely, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I would just link to your Church Connect and as an app, and so you would have a button on your website that says download our app or go to our app, and you could do that. Can we use it without domain or our own website? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You can either do domain forwarding if you already own a domain, or you can use customize your URL.
Yeah, and not every domain provider is going to allow domain forwarding. So go ahead and check on your domain provider's website and see if they do allow it, and it is going to be specifically domain forwarding. Anything else may not work, so make sure they have specifically domain forwarding, and reach out to us if you need help with that as well.
All right, Glenna, you asked a question that is a super important question. I want everybody's ears to perk up. How do you get Connect website to show up on search engines? You just asked.
A great question.
That is a very good question. So here's the deal. When it comes to SEO, search engine optimization, for those of you who are like, I don't know what that is. Basically, that is just building your website in a way and presenting it in a manner in which search engines are going to properly see it and display it to the people who are searching for that thing. The number one way to get Church Connect to show up on search engines is to, first of all, build it, because it needs to be built. Second of all, utilize like the feature I showed a little earlier. Actually, I want to show this real quick in the Connect menu. This is that big of a deal. Go to your Connect settings. Show your church address on the Connect page. Yes, 100 times yes. If you do this, this is going to boost that your ability to rank up in SEO. Now here's the deal. With SEO and churches, it is all about local SEO. We have a whole article about this, by the way. Go on our blog, actually just Google ChurchTrac local SEO, and you'll find our blog post about it. There are other companies that have blogged about this, but our team created a really great article that covers local SEO for churches and why it's important. One of the biggest factors of your church SEO, and not only just making your Church Connect rank on Google, it's Google Maps. And so it's not a Google My Business profile. It's called something else. They keep changing the name. Is it Google My Business listing?
I don't remember.
Whatever. Someone there is no chat right now because you're disabled. But regardless, if your church hasn't already claimed your Google Map listing, business listing, you need to do that years ago. You need to do it now. Yeah. And then you need to go ahead and link your Church Connect website to that. You need to go ahead and put in all your business operating hours and stuff. That is one of the number one ways, because Google now leans pretty much 100% on Google Maps within Google search for when people are searching for a church, because very rarely is someone searching like a church nationally. The only time they're doing that is when they want to listen to a podcast by like John Piper or something like that.
And he's already got the most SEO.
Yeah, we're not trying to compete with John Piper. We're trying to get people in our local area to see our church, and that's how you do it. Okay, that was a long answer. I'm sorry, but
a great question.
That was a really good question. I'm so glad you asked that. Nathan, is there a chat feature or any way for members to communicate with each other directly? We just talked about this the other day, didn't we, Michael?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. There is not. And the reason for that is in our experience of doing a lot of research on this, because we have gone back and forth with developers, like, should we incorporate some sort of chat or something built in? And we keep coming to the realization that the majority of churches, they're just not going to use this, and very few of your members would ever use a feature like this, because the ones that want to chat and do all that, they're going to do it on a platform they already know and love, like a Facebook group.
Absolutely.
Like GroupMe is another really
GroupMe's
popular
a great one. Yeah, if you guys want something to use GroupMe.
Yeah.
Or Facebook, but GroupMe's great.
Yeah, that's where people typically are going to want to communicate. WhatsApp is a very popular one. Not as much in the United States, but worldwide, everybody's using WhatsApp. So that's why we don't do that, is because we just found that as great as it sounds and as great as you may think it is as a leader, not saying it's a bad idea, but a lot of church leaders we've come to find that like they want something like that, only to find that as much as they think their people are going to use it, they actually don't. So that's why we never added it in. Maybe one day that'll change, though. I'm never going to say never.
Yeah. Never say never.
Never say never. Mary, does scheduling link to the app? If someone is scheduled for worship/Sunday school, will it alert them in the app? So it won't alert them necessarily in the app in the way of like a push notification, although that could change very soon because they just enabled push notifications on web apps. But it will actually, so I think I'm going to log into this account real quick. I'm actually logged in. So when I go to upcoming events, so your people are going to see any upcoming events they're scheduled for or registered for. Now, I'm currently scheduled to run audio at my church here, and so I can see that event right there. By the way, in Church Connect, this is so cool. This is like an extra for you. I can update my availability. And
pro tip 8.
Yeah, this is like I don't even know what pro tip we're at. Yeah, we're at 30. So I'm actually going on a ski trip, Michael, in a few weeks. Yeah, I know. Be jealous. I did invite you. But I'm doing a ski trip, and it's actually going to be the 21st through the 24th. So these dates I am not going to be available, and I'm going to say ski trip. So ski trip. And I will save those dates. So now I'm unavailable to be scheduled on those dates because I'm going to be skiing down the slopes.
That's right.
So there you go. So that's a really cool feature that your people can utilize. And I love that all that's built into Church Connect. It's not like your worship team needs one app, but then like a children's ministry team needs another, and you're using this app for scheduling, but this one for planning other things. Right. No, it's all in Church Connect.
Okay. Okay.
How do you? So
how can you confirm someone should have access to a membership only card? That's a great question. So it really just depends on your preference and what who you think should be seeing this card, and really it just depends on what. Like I would say for visitors, like you really only want them to see the the information that's available about your church. That's like. Get to know more about us, get to know more about our pastors, things like that you would leave open for visitors, but other things. And Wes, I don't know if you have any examples of things that you would put for members only.
Yeah,
like parts that you would have for members only.
Well, I don't want to show that screen, but basically, when it comes down to it, you have the ability to reject or accept a person who applies to be a Connect user.
Right.
And so my recommendation is if someone wants to create a Church Connect account, that is either someone that's a member of your church or is actively going to your church and everything, then you'll accept them in. And you can also adjust their privileges of whether or not they have access to the member directory.
That's right.
That's a big thing. And so that's all part of it as well. And we've got some stuff in our user guide that kind of walks you through that. Can we link? Oh, this is a good question.
That's a great one.
Can we link to our Facebook page? I hope you link to your Facebook page. This is actually one of the most popular things I see a lot of churches do. Kind of like we talked about messaging a second ago. But if you want to get your people active and talk about stuff, well,
invite them to your. Put the link, throw the link in the link card in there. Have them go to your Facebook page and then follow your page, and you guys can chat on there. However you need to.
I'm going to take it to the next step. So I'm a big proponent. I'm not like a big Facebook guy in the sense of like, I don't trust them with almost anything, but I will say this. Facebook groups, not only did we find it to be an incredible way to connect with ChurchTrac users, but Facebook groups is an incredible way as a church to connect with our people and for them to talk with each other. I see a lot of churches, they create Facebook groups either for the church or they'll create a Facebook group for all the different Bible studies and discipleship groups. So I would link to your Facebook group. I wouldn't even do the page, I'd do the group because pages really don't mean much anymore. It's all about groups. If you want to learn more about that, Google it. It's really interesting how Facebook groups has actually become so much more important than a Facebook page. A Facebook page is like kind of like stale and no one cares about it. Facebook groups is what everyone actually cares about now. Edith, how can I get our calendar of upcoming events to appear on the public site? Reach out to our support team because there's a few different ways, and it comes down to like what you're trying to accomplish there. And I want us to work with you one-on-one on that one.
Yeah, we had Jane. Okay, this is a good question. So every time I point my camera to the QR code, it only comes up on the internet screen and does not come up as an app on my phone. And that's a great point. The app that you get for Church Connect for your church is going to be one that is downloadable from the web page, basically. So it's like a web app. So it should prompt you when you open up that web page to download the app. And if you go to we actually have a user guide article on how to do this. And Wes has it pulled up right now on his computer. But you should be able to see here for iPhone, you'll click that little square, that little box there. If you're not getting the prompt, you should get the prompt to show you how to do it. But if not, click that little square button with the arrow pointing up. You'll click add to home screen and then add again at the top right there. You should see if your church has a logo on there, you should see the logo for the Connect. And then for Android, what we're going to do is we're going to go add Connect to home screen. I believe.
Yeah,
what is it? There should be a button there that
Android's
allows you to
kind of a
add
weird one just because there's so many different variants of the Android operating system. But most Android devices, if someone's visiting your Church Connect for the first time, it is automatically going to prompt them to add it to the home screen, either on the bottom or the top of the phone. It'll instantly say, hey, do you want to add this to your home screen or download the app, depending on what operating system of Android they're using. And then they can quickly say add, and then it adds it, and then they're done. So yeah, in terms of adding it, it's great. It's different because most people are used to going to like an app store and going through that process of finding the church app. Funny story, I visited a church years ago and I wanted to donate to the church because they were doing this really cool fundraiser for a village that was actually near a village in Africa that I had visited. Whoa. And I was like, sweet, I want to donate to this. And they were like, download our app. So I go to download the app. Yeah. Right before I go to give, I realized I downloaded the wrong church's app. Because there were 3 other churches
for giving.
Yeah, but because they had three other churches had the same church name and a very similar logo on the Apple Store.
Dude, what?
And so I was just like, oh man! And with this, you don't have to worry about that because it instantly takes them to your app right there. It bypasses the App Store, and in fact,
and you can't miss it really.
You really can't. And this is actually going to be the future of a lot of apps because we are getting to a point where I don't know how much you all follow the news, but everything is splitting apart from the App Store of the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and it's all started in Europe, and it's actually filtering to the United States, where there has to be a secondary way of putting apps on phones, and we are already ahead of the game in that regard, which is really cool.
Yeah. So this is the way to do it.
This type of app is actually much better for the use case of churches, because for example, like your typical native app you download from the App Store, you have to go away from that app store when you go to give online, or else Apple gets a 30% cut.
That's right.
That's no bueno. Yep. I don't want Apple taking 30% of my donations. All right, anyways, we just went way off on a tangent. I want to continue this process.
Awesome.
This one's from Alice. Link to Zoom. Yeah, you can link to Zoom, Alice. I would recommend only having that appear, though, like when people are logged in. You don't want just anybody pulling Zoom links. Right. Elaine, do all the pictures / graphics you want to use need to be uploaded to ChurchTrac, or can you upload them to another site? I have seen cases of church leaders actually embedding images on a page card and stuff and utilizing code. But yeah, for majority of those pictures and everything, you're going to have to drag and drop those into ChurchTrac in Church Connect for that.
How does the event record your attendance feature work? That's a good question. So what you'll want to do, and I'll try to give you a quick
I need the 60-second version.
60-second version. What you're going to want to do is go to your event screen, events and attendance. You'll go ahead and create an event. And what you'll want to do is you'll go ahead and click. There should be a button when you scroll.
So I'll create an event.
Yeah, create an event. Name it whatever you're going to name it. And then you're going to want to set up registration for this event. So I believe that's what you're saying. Or no, that's record attendance. I'm sorry. So we're going to allow, have attendance here for this. We're going to add that event.
Okay. And this is an area where you actually go to your attendance.
And
so I'll create an event. So we're going to call this the test. Actually, we're going to take things to the next level, and I'm going to say Ron's small group, because I want Ron to be able to track attendance. So we've got Ron's small group already in here, added to the calendar. And now we need tags, don't we, Michael?
Absolutely. So we're going to want to apply tags, and this is how you're going to keep track of your members. Or even just people that are visiting. But so let's say discipleship group adults 1 is going to be Ron's small group. We're going to apply that selection, and we're going to be able to see here, if we were going through this, you'd be able to see the names that are associated with that tag if we clicked on it.
Yeah.
And so these are all going to pop up in that, or they're going to be associated with the name for the attendance that's going to pop up on your Church Connect page. So whoever is on through that tag, then it will show up for them.
So now, and I'm on my Church Connect page, and so very quickly, just showing, I can scroll down, record my attendance, and there we go. Ron's small group. Boom. It's going to pop up here. Here's what's really crazy, though. Check this out. Like I would say there are as many ways to track attendance with ChurchTrac as there is to cook an egg. It's kind of insane. So if I go to that menu in the top left. And then, do you know about this feature? Because I know you're still learning some of this, but yeah, if I go to upcoming events.
I saw that, yes.
So I can enter attendance because I have actually classified myself as the person to enter attendance for the small group. So your small group leaders can take attendance in Church Connect. So then I enter attendance, and then I can say, hey, all these people were here for my small group. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. I can add a memo. I'll just hit close. So we'll say all of us were here, close. Attendance is done. Boom. I just tracked attendance for my small group. That's insane.
Like 30 seconds.
That's insane. And
That's amazing.
And we have other features too in the future. I'm sure we're probably going to make even cooler things. But yeah, that's like the very quick version. There's actually way more in-depth stuff I encourage you to check out in our user guide.
So we got Alice. Alice, she's asking where can we find free images. Really, we would suggest go on Canva.
Yeah.
I mean, Canva, even the free version is going to offer you some stuff. Yes. Exactly, dude. It's really just the best way to find it. At least make simple images. You really can't grab images from online. Copyright.
I mean, you can use stuff like Unsplash is another resource. But the reason I push Canva so hard is because by a church having a 501c3, if you have one, and then applying for that through Canva, you get a Canva Pro account. Right. Canva Pro accounts, there are so many images you can access on Canva. It's incredible.
They already have pre-made images on there for you, actually, or templates, basically. And so you really change the wording on it, and that's pretty much it. Like you're good to go from there. Yeah. And then maybe change the colors to match your theme, like we talked about earlier. But I would say that's going to be your best way of making those images for sure.
Now, if you want to get real crazy, because I like to nerd out in tech and stuff, we're getting to a point where you can prompt AI to create images for you. There's an image in our blog that we actually created in which it's 100% a fake image. I said I wanted a picture of a person that looked like this and a church that looks like this, blah, 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 and it created an image and it looks real. And I was
terrifying.
Like, save it. But anyways, but yeah. There's a lot of ways, but Canva's a good resource. Can you integrate Google Calendar events with ChurchTrac events in order to create event cards automatically or create a recurring?
No, not really. No, because when you import your Google Calendar, it's just going to show for the people that have for your users in ChurchTrac. It's not going to go to your public calendar.
And it's a read-only, so it's not going to... There's a lot of features in the calendar in ChurchTrac that Google Calendar just doesn't have.
Right.
And there are some in Google Calendar that ChurchTrac doesn't have because, after all, it's a multi-billion-dollar company that has like thousands of coders for just their calendar. But I will say that like you can link to your Google Calendar from Church Connect. That's actually a pretty common practice I see leaders do. You can even embed a Google Calendar into a page card. If you want to dive deep and get crazy, that's another thing you can do.
Okay.
For the ChurchTrac app, is it a link? Is it a URL link to the website version or a physical app that can be found in the App Store? We already answered that.
Yeah.
It's not in the App Store. Lots of good questions.
Can we use the link card to connect our Facebook page? Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, throw your link in there. Put your link in there, and it'll take it right to it. You can even throw a Facebook, picture in there for them.
Facebook Livestream, can we do that?
Oh, I don't know about that one. I don't think so. You can link them to it. You can give them the link to it. Absolutely. It won't show on there like a YouTube video would for the video card, but you can absolutely link them to that. So, add a picture that says Livestream. It'll take it right to them.
So
the link card.
The thing is, when in doubt, link card.
Yes, the link cards are incredible.
You can pretty much link to anything. So can you link to Facebook page? Yes, but I would encourage you create a Facebook group because it's even better. Do you have
contracted service that work with our POC for creation and modification? So no.
I'm not sure what you're asking. Reach out to our support team. And we'll answer that for you. Can you create a form of notification when Church Connect is updated or a card is added? Can you?
I believe when a form response is responded to, or like a form card is responded to, you can have one of your users in ChurchTrac notified, but you can't have people notified when you create a card.
That's correct, yeah. But that's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Reach out to our support team and ask, submit that. And I can't, that's the first time I've ever heard anybody ask for that feature. But if we have enough people asking for something, I mean, we definitely, today we've not shown this, but we do have 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to speak, and we do try to listen to you as much as we can. How/where do members access the member directory? Show them that, Michael.
That's a great question. Yeah. So what we can do, do you want me to show them?
Just show them on the phone. That's the best place.
So what we can do here is, and there are a few steps to getting this. To allowing this, and then allowing certain people's information to be shown on there, and members actually have a choice to choose what they want to show on here. So you really don't always have to say in what they want to show. If people want to hide their information, they can opt in basically. So what we can do is we can show here. We'll click on those 3 lines at the top there. It'll open up your options here, and we'll click Online Directory. And from here, we'll be able to scroll through, and even you can see there in that top option, include my family in this list for other members to see. That is always an option that your people are going to have. You really, that's their privacy. It's their private information stuff. If they don't want people to see it, it's really up to them.
And just an FYI, this information we're showing is all fake information.
Yes, this is not real people. So we're not doxing people. But anyway, so we can scroll through here and we see John and Jamie Ableton with their family, fake picture, obviously.
And if you were to scroll through, you would see all the people at church.
See all these people, and then we have another picture here. So you can have pictures, address, names, birthdays, email, stuff like that for people, other people to have access to connect with their people.
All right. So moving on here, connecting our live stream to ChurchTrac. Yes, link card.
Yes, link card. Yep, use link card. Or video card.
Where do prayer requests go? I don't know. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say.
So the prayer requests, they actually go to, if I go to Church Connect and I go to form responses, you have a lot of different form responses in which those can go. So that's where those go in, form responses. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Can a link card have more than one link, i.e. 2 videos? So a link card can only link to one thing. Yeah. But what you can do you know I'm about to go with this?
The playlist link.
You could do that. Yeah, you could do a playlist
or just your
link.
YouTube page.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, just link them straight to your YouTube.
Now, have you ever encountered a church leader that uses a page card and puts a bunch of links on a page card?
No.
Yes.
Not yet. I haven't yet.
So you could do that. And here's
That's a great
what's
idea.
insane. You could take things to another level. Like I don't have a way to show this right now, but so you can use a page card and you can insert links into a page card. I've actually encountered a lot of church leaders where they have created a page card, then they've taken the URL of a bunch of different form cards and stuff because they have a lot of different forms and different things they use on
awesome.
Connect.
Yeah.
They've pulled those into it, and so in essence, they've created a page that has a directory of all the different links and forms.
It'll
and
take
things.
them.
It's wild. So there you go.
Awesome.
I don't know why I got so excited about
That's good.
that.
I love that, dude.
Yeah, but so there you go. How do I add more people to Church Connect?
I'm guessing for the membership portal. So what they'll do is they'll just open up your Church Connect webpage or app. They'll click the sign in. There should be a sign in button on the top right, whether it's on the computer or on the phone, and they'll be able to create an account. And what you'll do is match them when you go to your Church Connect page to connect users. You'll match them to a person inside of your people database, basically. So that's how that's going to work.
Does ChurchTrac host videos or simply link to YouTube? You can put videos on like a gallery card. I've actually seen some church leaders do that.
Video cards too, though. Those should work, right?
And in the video card, it's not hosted by us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I always lean towards more so utilizing something like YouTube or Vimeo simply because if you're putting a lot of video footage on something, platforms like that tend to be a better place for it. But you still can use a gallery card for that. Demo the expandable card, please. Demo the expandable card. Yes.
Should be the bottom one. If I'm not
I
mistaken.
think we've got one on here. So expandable card. It's kind of, honestly, I don't really find this card incredibly useful, but here it is. New service times. If I click it, there it goes. Yeah. It just brings it down. That's it.
So if you want to hide information, if you have a lot of information in there, you need to hide it.
Yes.
Sure. If you want to keep from cluttering, but that's always an option for you.
I think this is a really good example of like when to use it.
Yeah.
I would not recommend putting like an entire paragraph's worth of information.
Use a page card for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So are there plans for a video player to be embedded as a card? You could use a video card for that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, for YouTube videos and for Vimeo videos.
Yeah.
You can also use a video card, to do your live streams if you're using YouTube.
Yeah.
For that as well. So
hopefully
those are really
that helps.
options for that. Yeah.
Can you export the directory to create printed copies for older members? Yes. Yeah, that's a report on ChurchTrac.
Yes. So the cards within a card.
We just talked about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do is you can grab the link for the card. You open up the card in your Church Connect page, grab the link, and you can throw that and put that into I keep saying throw. You can put that into a page card where you can just paste information into there. So you take those links and paste them right in there. They'll be able to open up the page card and press the link, and it'll take them to the other card that you have.
Yeah, and that's a pretty common practice I've seen a lot of church leaders do, especially for a lot of churches that have maybe like 10 or 20 different forms, and they want all those forms to live on just one page card.
Instead of having 20.
Oh, yeah, because the last thing, and you can hide all those forms.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
If you hide them, they can still access them through that too. So.
Scott, can I use an existing domain name and not use the .ChurchTrac?
So you can have people, you can forward people to it, but you can't, your Church Connect's always going to be .ChurchTrac.com.
Yeah,
always.
It's always going to be a subdomain of ChurchTrac.
Right.
But in terms of domain forwarding, like you said, that's going to be the way to do it.
Right.
Danny is asking, there you go, Michael, I'm going to get a sip of water.
Yeah. How and where do you choose that the display should be posted if logged in or not logged in? Where do I choose that the display should be posted? I'm kind of confused by that question.
Yeah, give us some more details, Danny, and we'll answer your question.
Or send in a support ticket if you're trying to set that up, and we can help you out. Can the option be provided to allow generic yet editable cards to be generated once an event has been placed on the calendar?
I'm trying to think. So you would want cards automatically created when an event. But see, that's what the registration card would be for.
Yeah, it'll pop up. The event will actually pop up, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Once an event's created, and if you go to Church Connect, that registration card, it's going to be available as an option. I think the reason they've kind of built it like that is because you don't want just like every event just kind of popping up there. Because if you did that, then it'd kind of be like
people showing up to events that or whatever.
Well, you'd feel like an endless scroll because it comes back to like that pro tip we were talking about, like being intentional about the cards.
Right.
If you start just having your Church Connect filled with tons of events, like tons like that, then your people are just going to kind of stop caring, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like I'd be very intentional about like the events you put on your Church Connect, like make sure like you order them in a certain way, but also like, not have an event from like 4 months, coming up when you still have 3 more before that. You want to focus on those.
Okay, so can we create an email of our own? Good question. So what ChurchTrac is going to do if you're using CT Mail, ChurchTrac Mail, it's actually going to use your Church Connect name for your email, basically, if that's what you're mentioning. So it'll use potential church at churchtracmail.com. So that's how that's going to work.
Question from Sean. I saw a card called Prayer Wall. What is that? That is just a page card in which we put all those prayer requests on that page card for our congregation to see them. And then as those prayers get answered and everything goes from there, then we can take those prayers off the page card. So that's how we did that. Yes. We have been talking about like how we could do prayer requests like to another level, and so we're still looking at what that would look like. We're always like brainstorming, just like what can we do to take this to another level in ministry.
Does that have push notifications? Not at this time.
Yeah.
No push notifications, but maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Not sure.
One thing I will say about push notifications, to be silly, push notifications are very pushy to people these days.
That's kind of the idea.
With all the changes that have happened, I know you're like, Wes, how do you know all these things? I read way too much. I got to stop. Like my wife is like, what are you reading now?
An article.
So we've been seeing a lot of research show that because of how Apple has changed how they do push notifications, the majority of people are actually not subscribing to push notifications when they get an app. Right. And that's even going further, like even with Android devices, that's all changing. Push notifications, a lot of church app companies, by the way, a lot of church app companies try to sell this idea that if you don't have a church app, like you're not going to be able to connect with your people well. That's part of the reason we made Church Connect and a website and an app, because really when it comes down to it, like your church website is your best web presence. An app is not going to be your best web presence because it's more niche and it's more towards your members, and it's also more towards your members that want to dive deeper and actually take the time to download it. Majority of your members, no matter what, are not going to download an app. They're just not, because they're not that involved. Not every member at your church is serving in 3 different teams and doing all these things. And so I do want to bring us like back to the reality of the situation is, as great as church apps are in general, like the most important thing is really having just a web presence and using Church Connect as your website if you don't already have one and stuff. I mean, that's going to be the big thing. And that's why we've made it both a church app and a church website. So that way it's just this great user experience no matter what. So yeah, I don't even know what the original question was, but there we go. I just like talked about who knows what. Mandy.
So would I use a link card to link to our online giving platform if it is not done through ChurchTrac Giving? Will this work to link another payment? Yeah, so you can do both. You can have it linked to your ChurchTrac online giving or to another giving site. Who sees your availability status?
Leaders that are scheduling, on the worship and scheduling screen, they'll see that.
It's pretty limited, I would say. Not everyone's going to see that.
Yeah.
How do you display birthdays? Good question.
Ooh.
So we keep that limited because we don't want people's information just showing up on the public calendar, basically. So you can create events. I would say get permission from
the
people,
best way to display people's birthday is to use like a page card or a quote card.
Yeah.
And so if you have like people's birthdays that are for that particular week or that month, put them on there and let your people know. We are just living in a crazy world. Marcy, I'm so glad you asked this question, because this is like, we are living in such a crazy world where you really don't want to be sharing people's birthdays on any sort of website, because that's just another way you give thieves personal information of an individual to steal their identity. In fact, I have opted out of our church directory, not because the church directory is insecure. It's actually very secure because we're big on security. But I just know the world we live in, and I want to take things to another level of my own personal security. I don't even have my phone number listed on a church directory, because people that know me know that they already have my number, or they'll reach out to the worship leader or whoever to get my number.
That's good.
But yeah.
Cool. With the giving card, can you link Givelify or Square for online giving?
Link card.
Link card. That's going to be your best option.
All right.
I do not see an online directory in my Church Connect menu. How do I add it? So you're going to have to make that available. When you go to your Church Connect page, you go to Connect menu, Church Connect settings. I believe it's Connect settings. Is that right?
Yep. Let me hide that question too.
Yep.
And then I go to Church Connect settings. Yep, you're right.
And then we're going to show when we scroll down. Is it in there or no?
No, it was back. You know why? Because it was under the Connect users.
You're right.
We changed the order, so it's Church
settings.
Connect user settings, and then from here we can.
Then it says enable the online directory.
Yeah.
So that's how you're going to enable that. And then under people's profiles, you'll be able to add, choose what information you want to show.
I like the ability to allow users to view and share family photos and everything. So that way you can kind of put that on your people.
Yes. So that's what I would do. What determines the size of the cards? Is it just the image size itself or the amount of information? It is the size of the image, if I'm not mistaken. It kind of depends. It kind of depends. So I'll let you explain it. I don't know how to explain it really.
So there's a native size. So it automatically sizes your image accordingly.
Right.
But the native image you want to use is 1600 wide, 1600 pixels wide. Now you can do 800 pixels wide and cut it in half. I say 1600 because it gives you a very high quality image.
Right. Otherwise it's going to pixelate.
Yes, and it looks kind of rough. And then in terms of because that's the width, in terms of the length of the image, I always say you don't want the height of your image to be taller than the width. So either make it a square or make it like a rectangle.
Yeah.
Don't make it like a long thing like that, because then it just looks...
Yeah, it's going to look goofy.
It looks goofy because then someone's scrolling through your Connect and you're like, what in the world? And they're like, oh, this is all one card? This is weird.
Yeah. Okay, we got 3 more questions here.
Yeah, this is the longest live stream we've ever had because we have so many questions. Oh my goodness.
It's so intricate, but we got this. So when a guest attends our service and scans the QR code to get the app, do they have to wait to be approved before they can access the app? And that is a great question.
Yes.
It depends. It depends on what cards you have available to members and what cards you have available to the public for people just to see. And so once they open up the app via the QR code, if you have that available to everybody, people that are not logged in, then they'll be able to see the things that are on that page. But if you have cards that are only available to people that are logged in, then they will have to log in, and then you'll have to match them for them to be able to see those cards.
Do prayer requests go directly to the pastor? They can. You can specify who you want those prayer requests to go to.
Absolutely.
If you have previously deleted the sample cards years ago, is there a way to add them back? I wouldn't add sample cards. I would just create your own because it's easy. And just check out our online user guide. It shows you all this stuff, and we've got the videos.
Yeah.
Can I use a link card to link the Cash App?
Yes,
Can you?
absolutely.
Issue
with the online directory turned on, but as people gain access to your Church Connect, you need to allow each people. So go ahead and send a ticket into our support team. That's kind of a tough one to explain on here, and we're really just trying to answer the more
that gets deep into it. I will say that my personal preference, and now I am a weird one where I just am really big on my personal privacy.
Yeah.
I don't really like the idea of online directories. That's just me personally. Right. And I've talked to a lot of people, especially a lot of younger people too, that are like, I don't want
really care for it. Yeah.
I actually like the idea of physical directories more than online directories. But at the same time, physical directories have their own security issues because if someone misplaces a physical directory,
take it home with them,
and someone else grabs it, then they have the information of everybody at your church.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, we're really big on security here at ChurchTrac, and so that's why there's not only an opt-in process, but there's also the ability where people can choose what information they want displayed on the directory. And the last question from Sean to finish things up.
I am curious about the content of the video, things that pastors never say. Is there a place I can access that? And that is a great way to end off our live stream, Wes, if you want to answer that one.
I think go to our YouTube channel and search it. It's probably on there. I think
it's on the front page, I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
I think so.
I'm not sure, but yeah, that was just a funny video we did a while back, like a little commercial, things pastors never say. And gosh, I'm trying to remember what was on it. I remember laughing a lot because it was silly things
silly.
Yeah, I love, I forget, I don't know, but yeah, check it out. All right, well, that was a very long live stream. Now, I just want to encourage everyone that's still with us today, which is blowing my mind. I don't think we have anybody else with us today, or is it? Yeah, we still have 73 people with us right now. That's incredible. That 73 of you are still here. These live streams don't normally last this long, but we just had so many any questions, and we're to our word. We said we would stay here and answer them all. And my goodness, I'm hungry. You're probably hungry. You all are probably hungry, depending on where you are, what time you joined. Thank you so much for joining this live stream. We had a blast going through Church Connect, showing you how to build your church website and create your church app all in one with Church Connect. Stay tuned, because we have so many other things we'll be coming out with in the future. Our development team never stops. They're always making new things.
Every day.
Just hold tight, because we've got more to come around the bend.
Yes.
See ya.
See ya.